So when I finished the first version of the Mirror script, originally called A White White Day, I realized that cinematically the conception was very far from clear. A simple piece of recollection, full of elegiac sadness and nostalgia for my childhood, was not what I wanted. It was obvious that something was missing from the script. And what was missing was crucial. Even when the script was first being considered, therefore, the soul of the film had not yet come to dwell in the body. I was acutely conscious of the need to find a key idea that would rise it above the level of a lyrical memoir. So then he is also hunting through a lot of documentary footage, and then he stumbles upon the footage of the army crossing the lake, which is real documentary footage. And he says that it was a unique piece. I could hardly believe that such an enormous footage of film should have been spent on recording one single event continuously observed. It had clearly been filmed by an outstandingly gifted cameraman. When on the screen before me they appeared, as if out of nothing, these people shattered by the fearful, inhuman effort of that tragic moment of history, I knew that this episode had become the center, the very essence, heart, nerve of this picture that had started off merely as my intimate lyrical memories. The film in its present form only came into existence with the introduction of the narrator's wife into the fabric of the narrative. She had not figured either in the original plot or in the script, which demanded then and there on the set exact plastic realization. If I see anything at all before the shooting, if I envisage anything, then it is the inner state, the distinctive inner tension of the scenes to be filmed, and the psychology of the characters. But I still do not know the precise mold in which it will all be cast. I go on to the set in order to understand by what means that state can be expressed on film. And once I have understood that, I start shooting. Mirror is also the story of the old house where the narrator spent his childhood, the farmstead where he was born, where his father and mother lived. This building, which over the years had fallen into ruins, was reconstructed, resurrected from photographs just as it had been, and on the foundations which had survived. And so it stood exactly as it had 40 years earlier. When we subsequently took my mother there, whose youth had been spent in that place and that house, her reaction to seeing it surpassed my boldest expectations. What she experienced was a return to her past, and then I knew we were moving in the right direction. The house awoke in her the feelings which the film intended to express. As I began to work on Mirror, I found myself reflecting more and more that if you're serious about your work, then a film is not merely the next item in your career. It is an action which will affect the whole of your life. For I had made up my mind that in this film, for the first time, I would use the means of cinema to talk of all that was most precious to me, and do so directly, without playing any kind of tricks. When I finished making Mirror, childhood memories which for years had given me no peace suddenly vanished, as if they had melted away. And at last I stopped dreaming about the house where I had lived so many years before. So he continues talking about the film now. I had the greatest difficulty in explaining to people that there is no hidden coded meaning in the film, nothing beyond the desire to tell the truth. Often my assurances provoked incredulity and even disappointment. Some people evidently wanted more. They needed arcane symbols, secret meanings. They were not accustomed to the poetics of the cinema image, and I was disappointed in my turn. Such was the reaction of the opposition party in the audience. As for my own colleagues, they launched a bitter attack on me, accusing me of immodesty, of wanting to make a film about myself. In the end, we were saved by one thing only: faith. The belief that since our work was so important to us, it could not but become equally important to the audience. The film aimed at reconstructing the lives of people whom I loved dearly and knew well. I wanted to tell the story of the pain suffered by one man because he feels he cannot repay his family for all that they have done for him. He feels he hasn't loved them enough, and this idea torments him and will not let him be. It's very interesting because they were not shooting to a script, strictly to a script, right? But in every shot they took, and there was conviction in what they were doing. And if you go one step back, as long as he felt that he had conviction about the inner state of the scene and the characters that he was talking about, and he went with that inner conviction and successfully realized it visually and in sound, as long as he successfully did that, and as long as he was clear about the internal rhythm of those shots, So as much as he was clear about this and clear about sticking to that original inner conviction of the psychology of the characters and of what he was trying to say, he said it had to come together. So in a way he was shooting in the dark, and in a way he wasn't. So in the editing he says, so in a way it was a vindication of his belief, because for him editing is not that you just put together shots, create a rhythm, and then that will never work according to him. It will always fall short of going where it can really go. But for him, editing is a logical extension of the rhythm of shooting.